right, welcome to the Bulldog Breakdown with Coach Rocco. The bye week blues are gone. Yeah. We are back on game week. It's so exciting. We're approaching homecoming night right here at Bulldog Stadium. I just watched the guys running, and I'm glad I'm not them. Bulldog Nation, this is a special bye week edition you are going to enjoy today because not only are we going to get to know Coach Rocco a little bit, some of the questions that you sent in. We got two guys that took a special trip along with several others, but we're going to interview them. And then we will talk a little bit about Rustburg. We got a few questions that I want to ask you about them coming up, and it's going to be a great one. Jam-packed show. Don't miss it. We got a lot right around the corner. Hey there, Bulldog family. Cody here with a quick reminder of something awesome that's happening right here on Saturdays. All of our families are invited to the Saturday football pancake breakfast at 10 a.m. in the stadium parking lot. Whether you're a middle school, JV, or varsity family, we want to see you there. Bring your chairs and orange juice or cheer wine or whatever you drink for breakfast. We're going to have food, fellowship. It's going to be a great time. Carol Moon's going to be sharing his testimony, and together we're going to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly, and the great experiences from sports parenting. We want to see you there. Can't wait. All right, everybody. This is time for us to share a segment I've been waiting for a while to do. I told you I was going to do this early on, but I wanted to wait to see, if this podcast took off, and it is. Got a lot of people watching it. Every week, I've got people coming up to me saying, you need to ask Coach this, or you need to ask Coach that. Well, we put it out to you. Ask Coach Rocco. What would you ask him? And several of you sent things in, so I want to read some of these, Coach, and let you answer them. Maybe have a follow-up or two, but I'm excited for some of these. First one comes from Carolyn M. It says, what is the best memory from your time as a player, either in high school or at Penn State?
High school, we were playing for the championship down at Pitt Stadium. That was the stadium that was used for the championship game in Western Pennsylvania. And my younger brother, Dan, who's now the coach at VMI, was a receiver on our team. And
You played quarterback?
I played quarterback. He was a receiver. And I can't remember the exact score of the game, but we got down. We started coming back. I threw a touchdown pass to him, my brother, in the corner of the end zone, that got us within actually 2 points. We missed the extra point, and the other team was winning by 2. Then at the very end of the game, we put we only had like 30 seconds left. We went the length of the field, and I was throwing to him left, right. We went right down the field. We got to about the 10 or 12 yard line. We're down 2, and all we got to do is kick a field goal. Right. So we send our kicker back out on the field, who missed the extra point to make it a 2-point game, and he missed the field goal, and we ended up losing the championship game. But the way my brother was the one that was, Johnny on the spot, making all the catches and whatever, was a great memory in high school. And then in college, I didn't play as much as I would have liked to. I backed up most of my career. At my sophomore year, I did start, but I threw a touchdown pass against Bear Bryant, Alabama Crimson Tide.
Come on.
And so that
cool.
ranks up as a high memory there.
Man, that's awesome. Well, speaking of Penn State, Carson sent in a question that says, tell me about being the first to wear white cleats at Penn State. What's the story behind that?
So I used that at a chapel with the school here last year or 2 years ago, and I forget the point I was trying to make with it, but Penn State is known to be very, very, not flashy in the way they wear uniforms, the apparel, the additional auxiliary equipment that they put on. Like you watch, Deion's team now, Colorado. I mean, they got all the hood ornaments on but Penn State was very buttoned up and whatever. But everybody wore black shoes, and it was a mandate to wear black shoes. But I had injured my ankle, and back then Nike was the only company that made high top shoes that were like protective, to support your ankle the way mine needed to be supported. And The only ones that they made that particular, time period were white.
Okay.
So, because it was a precautionary thing, Coach Paterno allowed me to wear white, and I was the only one on the team that wore white shoes, and I have a picture in a game wearing them. But then funny, the next week we came back, and everybody that had any kind of a sprain or whatever, they were all asking for these white shoes. And then what Joe did is he sent the trainer and the equipment man, and he painted all the white shoes black, like literally spray painted them black.
My word.
And they were in our lockers when we showed up the following week. And it's like, okay, now we got to go back to wearing low-cut black shoes because they didn't want to they look like army boots.
It smell like Krylon paint.
Yeah.
Gracious. As far as coaching goes, this comes in from someone named Olivia. It says, how do you motivate your players, especially when facing either a challenging opponent or coming off a tough loss?
Yeah, I think our guys know that every Monday is preparation Monday, and our coaches do a great job of doing film study and game plan preparation leading into that Monday, where we watch video, we prepare the preliminary game plan that we present to the guys, and then we come out and we walk through what we've installed, and then we run them hard. Whether win, lose, we always run really hard on Monday. So I think whether it's a win or a loss, there's emotions that go along with both of those. And I think sometimes if the players see that the coaches are getting too high because of win or too low, and then it kind of rubs off on them. So we as a coaching staff, we try to stay very steady, and this is what we do. We're going to prepare you just like we do every game. We're going to come out and run and condition hard just like every game. Thank God it's worked more than it's not. But I think just keeping the boys on kind of a level mindset and not allow ourselves to get too high or too low is the recipe.
Oh, it's working so far.
Yeah.
And then, I know who you've played for and all, but there's a lot of great inspiring coaches over the years.
Yeah.
Who is your biggest inspiration as a coach, and how have they influenced your coaching style?
Yeah, well, my father would be the first one. My dad was my high school football coach. So, I grew up when I was a little kid, and I was a ball boy, water boy, and on the sidelines and observing him and how he coached and how he impacted his players. So my dad would be number one. Certainly Joe Paterno would be a major influence, and how he did things and did things the right way. Some programs have kind of a negative connotation, that they let them get away with stuff. Academics aren't strong, cutting corners on things.
Right.
Joe Paterno's program was just the opposite of that. It was straight and narrow, no cutting corners. When you're a recruited high school player, you kind of gravitate to one or the other of those type of makeups. Are you going to looking to go play for Deion Sanders at Colorado and all the flamboyant, operation that he runs, or do you want to be in a disciplined, straight-laced, going to force you to go to class and do well in school, and you're going to have coaches that are going to hold you accountable and so forth. And it usually goes one way or the other, and I was certainly the Joe Paterno way. And he was a major influence overall, both as a person and then as a coach as well. I coached on his staff for 1 year as well.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's really cool to sit here and listen to young men that we talked to Peyton and Reagan, which you guys are going to hear from in just a little bit.
Yeah.
To watch them watch you, but for you to take them on a mission trip and go down and not just do work, but really spiritually invest in these guys.
Yeah.
I get the privilege of seeing what they do in the locker room before a game, and all of the spiritual aspect. But I'm curious about you. How did you come to faith in Christ? Tell me a little bit about that story.
Yeah. It goes back to my wife sitting off stage here, off camera. It was basically when I had asked her to marry me, and I knew that my life leading up to that point was not going to be conducive to be a good husband, a good father, a good employee. And I've had people in my life, my wife, my mother-in-law, friends at Penn State, that have tried to influence me to make that decision much prior to when I did. But I really looked at, there was no turning back when you ask a young lady to marry you and you want to have a family and you want to be what God intended a dad and a husband to be. If you don't have God in your life, I think you're setting yourself up for failure. So it was really a combination of all of that coming together to say that I need Christ in my life. And, just as we all know, we're all a work in progress, even, 38 years later. But, God has been my compass ever since that day, and continue to look for Him for guidance at every crossroad.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Hey, coming up, we're going to talk about the Rustburg game, and then we're gonna get out of here. You got a lot of stuff to prepare for and plan for. Yeah. But I really like this segment. If you have any questions, you can hit us up on our social media, direct message us. We'll put a question out on our Instagram story where you can ask Coach Rocco, ask him these kind of questions. Ask him, does pineapple belong on pizza? Which it obviously does not. But this is a lot of fun. Thanks for answering those questions, Coach.
Absolutely.
All right, Bulldog fans, we're at the segment that we call Sideline Spotlight. We got two guys with us right now that aren't on the sideline a whole lot, but we're still going to throw the spotlight on. Coach, we talked, this is the bye week,
yes,
and so it's kind of hard to pull a player of the game when there was no game.
Right.
But a shout out to our middle school and our JV last week for really, really big wins.
That's right. It was, I think, the first time that all three teams swept a heritage team or along with the city middle school. So it was a big night and a big week for the Bulldogs. Yeah.
But we wanted to give you guys a little insight into some of the things that our guys have been doing. Coach approached me last year, along with being one of the Bulldogs' biggest fans. I had the opportunity to be the high school pastor at Thomas Road, and our team takes a trip down to Guatemala for missions. And Coach, you approached me about some of our guys doing that. Tell me a little bit why you wanted your guys to go on a mission trip.
Yeah, it's really been something I've wanted to do forever, as long as I've been coaching. And many years I was in a public school, and not that you couldn't do it, but it just never really came together. And then since coming here, there's so many opportunities for our students to go on missions trips that I never really focused on, hey, let's just do a football missions trip with our own guys. And so this year, your connections down in Guatemala, my daughter that lives down there, it just really all came together. And we were able to have 8 of our players, and a couple of you, and another dad went down. And so it was a great group. And then you had a bunch of kids from Thomas Road. But it was a great experience for all of them, hopefully one that they'll never forget.
Yeah, it was really exciting putting it together. You two were two of the first that were like, I'm going to go. I think you approached me in that original meeting, kind of like, I'll go. Yeah. But I got to know this guy. I was actually the butt of this guy's joke at one point. He said that I looked like Uncle Ian or something like that from
Alvin and the Chipmunks.
Alvin and the Chipmunks. Which I can't deny. I got to be honest, the glasses and everything. First of all, introduce yourselves, Reagan, Peyton. Tell us, well, I just kind of said your names, but introduce yourselves, your numbers, and what position you play.
I'm Peyton Nichols. I'm number 76, and I play left tackle.
I'm Reagan Burgess. I'm number 18. I play fullback.
Reagan, tell me a little bit when you heard we're going to Guatemala, opportunity to go down. Why for you? What is it for you said, I want to go on this trip?
Well, my parents, a lot of the times, they've always told me about the mission trips they've been on, the Guatemala and Honduras and stuff, so I've always been interested by it. And then I heard that we were going as a football team, and that really interested me because I know I get closer with my brothers and Coach Rocco, so that just really intrigued me, and I was excited to help people down there.
What about you, Peyton?
I'm never, my family, we've never really been big into missions across country, so it was kind of new to me. But you're spreading the gospel, so I was like, I'm down to try it. It's new stuff, and you also get to make bonds and relationships with your teammates and coaches. So it was a win-win. I just decided I want to try it out.
In your time down there, Peyton, you said you've not done a lot of stuff like that.
No, never. I've never been out of the country.
Never been out of the country. Tell me what it was like for you to arrive in Guatemala, a new country, a new place, realizing you had a mission to accomplish, but yet, like, everything's new. Right? What was that like?
Oh, it was completely different. Nothing is like America over there, and they don't even speak English. So you got a lot of problem solving, got like getting around stuff, but you're with everyone. You find ways. Yeah. So it was awesome.
Reagan, thinking about the mission we do, talk to us a little bit. Share with them some of what really you guys were tasked with doing on this trip.
So we were tasked with delivering food bags to a bunch of different places, which I thought was really, it was fun, but it also really opened your eyes, because I went with Coach Rocco into one house, and their house was made out of just like cardboard. Like that was their whole house, and they maybe had like a little bit of sheet metal on top, and like that's what they lived on. And I was just like thinking, oh my gosh, I have so much that I take for granted for just thinking, like, I sleep in a bed, I take it for granted, don't even have beds, and it's just like all that, and it's just really opened my eyes. And then the FCA camp, we were tasked with going to do like help paint houses and stuff, but also go play soccer with the kids. And like we introduced ourselves to them, which we didn't speak much, like they didn't speak like any English basically, but I feel like we had an understanding of each other, like being able to be able to pass the soccer ball back and forth and just like play physical activities with them, which was really awesome.
Like they say, sports is like it's a language that everybody can speak, right? And how long when you guys did the camps? Like I mean, we got pictures, and I'm going to show pictures as we do this. But how long when you guys got in there did it take to kind of overcome that? We're two different groups to where you guys were just playing with the kids. Where sports just kind of became the thing you did.
All you need is a ball. They start moving, so you don't even got to say anything.
All you need is a ball.
All you need is a ball.
Coach, what was it like to see your guys, a lot of them, this was a very new experience for them, for you to see your guys do something like this, work together, but really go outside of their comfort zone.
Right.
What was that like?
Yeah, I mean, Reagan was referring to, I think it might have even been the first day that we went out and we were delivering the food bags to some underprivileged families. And ironically, I think the two of these guys were in my group that first day. And and we had no idea. I mean, I've been down there and I've done some missions before, so I kind of had an idea, but every community is different. But homes all take on a different look, whether it is just cardboard or sheet metal that kind of propped up or whatever. And so I remember going into some of these homes with these guys and delivering food, and I mean, just the complete joy and appreciation that those families showed, and we prayed with all of the families, and I still can remember to this day in the little community that we went to, they were just going through an election, a local election, and the one woman of the household was like totally devastated by what the future may look like, because the candidate that she was hoping for did not get elected. And so not only are they impoverished, but now they feel like there's going to be leadership in their local government that's not going to move them forward. And then there were, single mothers with 3, 4, 5 kids. And so I mean, it was an impactful time, and it was a lot of fun to be able to experience that with these guys.
Yeah. Guys, it's one thing to go to another country and deliver some food bags, which was necessary. We did deliver to some areas that were really hard hit economically, and you saw that. And then you guys had the opportunity to build a home for a mom who had her home kind of burn out, which was a neat thing. But those are really just tasks. Tell me, and I'm putting you on the spot a little bit with this, but both of y'all talk about your faith and how that's an important part of your life. Tell me how this trip more than just giving things away or performing a task. Tell me how this summer impacted your faith in Christ, doing something like this.
Well, it helped a lot because I got saved about 3 years ago, and I kind of just always thought it was just like that one-time thing. Like, you get saved, like you're like saved for your life. You don't have to like keep repenting. It's just like that one time. But then, honestly, when we went down there, it really opened my eyes because, like what Coach Rocco and me were saying, they were going down there and they had churches they would go to. Like, even if they had nothing, like they would still share their food. Like the food bags we brought, they were already telling us, like, because we had a translator, they were telling us how they were already planning on sharing like majority of their food with everybody who needs it. Like, because they were saying like how they want to help share the food. They don't want to be selfish with it because they know they've been there before and they've had people help them even if they have like nothing. And it just really spoke to me, saying like God really helps people like all over the world, like no matter what. And it's really opened my eyes because I was like, we have to have an all-knowing and great creator to be able to like be that powerful and like help as many people as everybody he does. So it just really, it's awesome.
Peyton, what about you? What did this summer speak to your heart?
I've been saved since I was little. I mean, I've always grown up like close to God, but going to this trip still completely changed like my perspective of everything because, you know, always living in America, just everything's nice, but you might not even see it like that. But going over there, I mean, I saw more amputees there than I have ever seen. Like, no one, like a lot of people had like no limbs, like living off the side of roads. It was just bad situations, but they were still so grateful for everything. Like, I mean, they're just so thankful to even talk to you. So it just really taught me, like, I'm blessed beyond, like, that I know. And I should use these blessings to help people like this.
Yeah, I heard one of the guys talk about the joy that they sensed in people, and it wasn't tied to things, you know. It wasn't tied to having things. Before we get done here, you know, Coach, I'd love to plan to do this again with you guys. Going down, I guess the question is kind of two-part. What was it like to go into the country? How did having teammates with you kind of help with the adjustment process of being there? But also, how did being there and doing that with your teammates impact, you know, the season already, coming back and being part of this team? How did that impact you guys?
Well, I guess with the mission trip, I was always scared to be like by myself, like in a foreign country, because I was always like, oh, I don't know anybody. Like, I feel like I'd just be awkward. But then I realized, like, before I even knew any of the guys were going, I was like, I got to go do this. But then a lot of the teammates came with me, and we bonded so close as brothers. I can't even explain to you. Because every day we would be making sandwiches, we would be building a house, we'd be delivering food bags together, and you just see a different side of people you don't see in everyday life. And it truly helped me see like how personal they can be with everybody. And Coach Rocco, he's like a second father figure to me, but that brought it even closer, just being able to like share that communication with him there.
I think it was just a great way to get to know my teammates better. Like I went there not knowing, I mean, I knew them, but they weren't like so close, you know,
Right.
But I left and they were all like brothers almost. And like Coach Rocco, he wasn't, you know, mean and hard. It was like a completely different person. And you know, it was just awesome, great experience.
Believe it or not, he's a human being. It's crazy. But what the neat thing is, Coach, you told me that it was really a cool thing for you because, I mean, out here there is a certain tone and temp, you know, that you have to have as a coach. But to spend a week with these guys serving the Lord, playing cards with Cheez-Its. Was it Cheez-Its you were with? Tell me what that was like for you, and maybe anything you saw about these guys that you maybe don't always see.
Yeah, I mean, certainly I think these guys may see the coach side of me way more than the human side. But I'm confident that they know the human side is there. And, you know, you go on a missions trip like that, I mean, you're not going to have your other persona with you. You know,
Right.
I mean, you're out of your comfort zone, really. And, you know, you still had to provide some leadership for them. But hopefully they saw a different side, and it was really fun to be able to connect that way. We've even, this season, as we've addressed the whole team on a couple of issues, I've even brought up the guys that went with us on a missions trip, and the fact that, we did do something together that nobody else really can relate to, because it was us that did it. So, it was a great memory that I think we all created, and I think we're all better for going on that trip.
All right, Peyton, Reagan, Friday, Rustburg.
Oh yeah,
coming in. Can't wait to see you guys out there.
Yes, sir.
All right. So here's what we're gonna do. Put your hands in. Everybody, put your hands in. I'm gonna go 1, 2, 3, and we're gonna go for him. Ready? 1, 2, 3. For him. There you go. Good job.
All right, Coach. Got to hang out with Reagan and Peyton. What a cool story. I'm so excited. I can see how that's gelled several of your guys.
Absolutely.
And it's kind of cool because I got to be on that trip, and just to hear how they still connect with me.
Yeah.
Doing something like that's really powerful. I look forward to doing that again. Hopefully we can get that set up and rolling and take the whole crew. That'd be amazing. But right now, you've got important things coming up. This is homecoming week.
Right.
And for any school, that's a big deal. Now, I know, Coach, that a game is a game. Like, you got to play it. It's 4 quarters. It's every down. But it is homecoming.
Yeah.
We've got Rustburg coming in. I told you last week I call it the Rustburg Rumble. That just sounded good. I want to talk a little bit about Rustburg, and then I'll let you get back to planning and preparing for the win. Tell me, just from what you've seen, Rustburg has had a good season so far. What are some of their strengths, and then what are some things that you see that maybe some of their weaknesses, if you can tell us, or if that's a secret, top secret, let me know.
Yeah, Coach Torrance is probably his 3rd or 4th year there now, and Coach he's won a state championship at Northside High School years ago, and he's a winner. He knows how to win and how to take a program and turn it into a winner. And he has progressively over those 4 years gotten better and better and better and better. And this is undoubtedly their best team in his tenure there. Offensively, you're gonna think you're looking at 2 of the same teams because they do very similar stuff that we do. Their running back is a big 6 foot, 230-pound, bruiser. And then we have Gideon and our running backs that are a little different, but everything else around it is pretty similar. Then defense, they are run-stopping football first, so they get their secondary up and involved in the box. They try to cover people up front so that offensive linemen can't get up onto linebackers, and they are trying to stop the run. So, it's going to make it hard for us to get our run game going. We've been able to do that against other teams that have obviously tried to stop the run as well. But then we're also going to have to find ways to move the ball in the passing game, and then win on the special team side too. So it's a very formidable contest. They're 4-1, and this is a huge game for just the overall power points component to how you get rated in the region. So they're 4-1. We're undefeated. So the winner of this game is going to really catapult with points that others may not be able to catch.
Right. You talk about the run stopping. They're going to bring everybody up,
right.
and so really challenge us to either beat that or to go over the top.
Right.
And Jeb has shown that he can put the ball up. But tell me a little, when I look at the team and I've been watching, I've seen some special things with our offensive line. You said it, I think a couple weeks ago, that they've started to get a little nasty down there. What are some things that you attribute to their progress and just how well they're doing? Because I do see those initial blocks, but then them scraping off and taking linebackers to where Gideon's really just making his way to a safety.
Yeah. Yeah, our guys, are experienced, number one. We've run the same system for the most part forever. So these guys have come all the way up through the system, and they know our blocking schemes and whatever. Coach Jake Grove and Braxton Pfaff are our offensive line coaches, both former players at Virginia Tech, and then Jake played in the NFL. So they know what they're talking about, and the kids really respond to that and respect their leadership. And then just the fact that, when you start feeling success, especially in the run game, success breeds success. And so when they make a double team block and get up to the linebacker and they, oh, wow, that worked. Well, then let's do it again. Let's do it again. Then it becomes, their confidence level goes through the roof. And I think that's what we're seeing right now is our offensive line is a very confident group right now. And I'll tell you what, you can win a lot of football games with a good offensive line, regardless of the other talent around it.
Yeah. It's homecoming week. Tell me, what's it mean to the guys to have these stands full on homecoming night?
Yeah, just like every other game. But, homecoming, bringing alumni back, I think this year specifically, because of the new stadium, people are going to want to come back and see the new facility. The fact that we're doing well, and they're going to want to see what the 2023 version of the Bulldogs look like, and hopefully they want to get caught up in the school spirit and the school community that we're developing here.
So I'm looking at the weather right now. Friday is a high of 76. Yeah. It's going to be a low of about 56. Yeah. It's football weather.
Yeah, a little overcast maybe.
Yeah,
I think. That
clouds are going to start rolling in the evening.
It's beautiful.
Hey, Friday, October 6th, homecoming right here. LCA versus Rustburg. It doesn't get any better than this. We're excited. We want you to come out. Follow us on all our social media, on Max Preps. If you can't make it to the game, I encourage you to make it out to the game. But if you follow us on Max Preps, we're going to keep up with all of the drives. You'll know what's going on. Coach, it's been a lot of fun. Looking forward to doing this again next week.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
And hoping for that big dub.
Yeah.
Hey, go Dogs.